right. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, doing something kind of special for you today. Decided to go ahead and go live on my page, covering giving away a little bonus topic here. So, a little bonus workshop or training. I'm about to go through and create a training for some of our Summit tribe on how to create a highly converting Summit offer. And I thought, you know what? We just released today an amazing monumental feature. Our brand new speaker matchmaker feature just went live. We sent out emails about it. If you haven't heard what I'm talking about, check the link that I've posted here in this post. You can read all about it. If you are a speaker, calling all speakers, you can create a free speaker profile in the Virtual Summit software and get even more speaking opportunities to get your message out to more people. And so I thought, in honor of that, while I'm creating this high converting Summit offer workshop for some of our tribe, I'm going to go ahead and broadcast that out to all of you so you can have access to this information too. This can be used for a Summit offer, but when it comes to creating highly converting offers in general, some of the same standards that apply to all of them. So you can go ahead and use this. You could use this for any kind of offer, whether you're selling a course, a membership, a service, a product, etc. All of that's available for you. So I'm going to go ahead and keep recording this workshop, but I wanted to go ahead and stream this live for all of you to get access to this as well. If you're looking on improving your offer, whether it's with a virtual summit or not, this information is going to be valid to you. So we just went through, actually, just to kind of catch up. We went through what makes an offer sell. It needs to solve a problem. It needs to be clear, and they need to know what it's costing them and how to solve it, although that's a very small piece of the problem of the puzzle of how, but they also need to know what their life's going to be like afterwards. It needs to be full of value. So it should be 10 times the price in whatever value. So if you're asking for $100, it should be at minimum $1,000 in value. If you're asking for $1,000, it should be $10,000 in value. And what you can do is you can also use bonuses to support that value. So if what you're selling is $500, but you need it to be $1,000, you can add in $500 in bonuses. Now it can be actual monetary value, meaning I had a graphic design team create these images. It cost me $1,000. So this is $1,000 minimum in value, but it can also be how much time will it save them? What frustration will it save them? How much quicker will it help them get to the solution, etc. And then the stronger the pain or the problem, the more valuable it's going to be. So the stronger, it doesn't need to be a big problem. You don't need to solve the world's hunger, but the stronger the pain point is with that problem, the more valuable it will be for the people who have the problem. Now, specifically with Summit offers, and when I say I'm going to be using Summit offers throughout this, when I say Summit offers, you should think offers, whether it's a virtual summit or you're selling a course or you're selling a workshop, etc. Offers are offers. Now, I'm doing this for my Summit hosts, so we're specifically talking about Summit offers. And a Summit offer is the bridge that connects the problem that the audience or the avatar or the attendees have with the aspirational character. So in a virtual summit, we have a problem that the summit is solving by bringing together thought leaders to talk about solutions to that problem. So these audiences coming to you with without knowing who you are, they've been referred to you. They're about to create know, like, and trust with you. So they're not ready to buy a high ticket offer for you. And we're going to go through those in a moment, but they're ready to get started on that journey. So your summit offer is the initial part. It's the starter offer. It's the initial part of the bridge that connects the problem that they came to you with to the aspirational character. That aspirational character is where they want to go, what they want to be like. It could be financial lifestyle. It could be, lifestyle in general. It could be a relationship. Like, what is it that they want to be like? That's where this is starting them on the path of getting there. So it's going to be a smaller offer. We also talked about the problem most commonly with Summit hosts is in an offer, we talk about all access passes and we talk about on demand. So this is very common with a Summit offer that they are going to want a all access pass, which gives them access to the whole summit as soon as they buy. They're also going to want the on demand. They want to keep those sessions ongoing. Well, this has been used so much and so often that Summit hosts have just made this term all access pass as if it was what the summit offer is. And this has caused confusion for new summit hosts. Summit attendees. So let me just say it like this. Summit attendees, they don't want to pay for the all access pass. They don't want to pay for the on-demand recordings. They want them, but they don't want to pay for them. So if that's what you're trying to sell, if you're just trying to sell an all access pass and that's the only thing you're selling, you're going to have a lower sales conversions because of that. Now, that's why I call this a summit offer, because it is an offer. It may include the all access pass. It may include on-demand videos, but it's going to include other things, and it should have something that solves a problem. This could be and again, it's a starter piece. It's not the full entree. This is a beginning appetizer that they're getting on the summit. So it could be like 7 days to this, or, it could be a checklist. It could be a guide. It could be, it could be a training, but it's a small, simple, easy training that gets them to the next point. This is for them to try you out and see that you can help them along their journey. So when I say summit offer, remember, it's the thing that's bridging the gap, or starting to bridge the gap between the problem they have and the aspirational character where they want to be. It's not the full entree. It's not a mega offer. This audience, because of the know, like, and trust, okay, when they first come into you with the summit, they're in that cold stage. They don't know you. They're beginning to create that know, like, and trust. However, after the summit, they're going to be a warm audience. So we got cold, warm, hot, and raving fan. Warm means, okay, I have trust for you. I'm ready to now pull out my credit card and buy something. And we're going to go through all of these different phases in the post-summit profit strategy. But the main point here is when you're creating your summit offer, you are not creating a mega offer. You're not trying to sell something at $10,000 on your summit. You're also not wanting to give them something that's going to take them a year to complete it or 25 hours to complete it, because they're just wanting to taste this right now. They want to make sure they're in the right direction. We always say that a virtual summit is the thing that starts the relationship building process. And what a virtual summit is a relationship building strategy. It's not a monetization strategy. Your monetization strategy comes after the summit with your post-summit offer and post-summit profit strategy. The summit is a relationship building strategy. So yes, we're going to generate revenue from the summit, but it shouldn't be the primary goal. It should be a yes and goal. Primary goal is to create a relationship with this audience so that they will continue on that journey with you, which is where the monetization will happen after that as you create more solutions to their problems. Okay, so let's jump into the different types of offers here. So we're going to jump into the different types of offers here. One moment. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. And right just before we jump through the offers here, just an overview of the summit. So you should have gone through some of our summit trainings at this point if you're specializing here in this workshop on highly converting summit offer. But with that being said, just so we've covered the overview of a summit, so we're all on the same page. Remember, the flow of the summit is this is where we are going to bring people who have a problem with the promise of a solution to that by bringing together a group of topic experts, micro influencers, to talk on that problem and solve that problem for an attendee or an audience, a specific audience, over a set period of time. And it's typically free to attend during that. Okay. So in the first phase of the summit, we're going to be promoting it. We're going to be sending them to our registration page. From the registration page, we're going to have a confirmation and or upsell page. This is where some of that monetization strategy comes in. We're going to talk about that. Your preparation or your promotion period is going to start about 2 weeks out from the summit. We promote, we advertise, we're engaging with the audience, we're pushing the speakers. That's the registration. The next phase is the show up phase. This is when our summit is kicking off, when our summit goes live. When I say live, I don't mean live, because the summit is traditionally pre-recorded. And the reason for that is summit is traditionally pre-recorded is because this new audience who knows you is you, or who is getting to know you. That's the purpose of the summit, is to build your audience, create know, like, and trust, build a relationship. They are typically at the beginning of their journey. They're willing to sacrifice, they're willing to pay time over money to learn the solution to their problem. There's different phases in the entrepreneurial journey. At the beginning of the phase, people are willing to give up time to learn knowledge versus money to learn knowledge, because at the beginning, money is potentially not accessible, it's not available, it's at least not readily they don't want to part with that. Later in your journey, as you're more successful, you'd rather spend money and save time in order to get the solution. But you got to remember, who is your audience? Your audience in this summit is not you. It's where you were at the beginning of your journey. So they're willing to sacrifice time to get this knowledge, and that's what we're bringing to them. So and that's also why I recorded. So the reason it's pre-recorded is because that audience they're not able to be available with you the whole time. Meaning, there's a difference between a virtual summit and a live stream conference. A live stream conference is live. It's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they have to be there for the whole thing or they miss it. Now, that is typically a paid live stream conference. People pay, they buy a ticket to that, they sit through that. There's typically less speakers and there's a higher ticket offer that's sold on that, and it's typically to an audience you already have a relationship with. They're willing to pay and spend that time with you. A virtual summit is to a new audience. It's an audience that's been referred to you by the speakers. They're getting to know you, know, like, and trust, but they don't know you and they're not willing to spend the money yet until they get to know you, which is what the summit does. Now, these people are typically watching this in their spare time. So they're participating in the summit in the morning while they're getting ready and brushing their teeth. They're watching it. They're watching it on their lunch break while they're eating lunch. They're watching it in the evenings after they put the kids to bed, etc. So this is on their own timeline. I see a lot of summit hosts trying to mimic live stream conferences for a virtual summit with a new audience, and it's not going to work out great because this audience does not have they don't have the time, nor do they want to spend the time with you yet on a live stream session. Now, it's okay to have live stream sessions. So we almost always do like a live stream session in the evening, but we're not doing the live stream the whole day. The summit is pre-recorded. So it's a pre-recorded interview or pre-recorded presentation or a hybrid session. So when the summit starts, the days that it's available, whether it's a one-day summit or a multi-day summit, that's when your summit attendees are engaging and participating in the content, the summit content. So you're going to have that there. We're engaging with our audience. We are focused on customer support, getting people the information they need. They can't find the link. They can't access this or that. We're following up with the speakers, making sure they're still participating and promoting. And we're handling any live stream components that we're going to do. Again, like typically one live stream a day, maybe maximum two. There is a bonus day in a one-day summit, and there's an encore weekend in a multi-day summit. And that's an additional opportunity to get the attendees to engage. Remember, whole point of the summit is building a relationship. The point of a summit is not to get them on, shut down the sessions, and try and get them to buy the all access pass. That's another big misconception here. So you're not supposed to do that. I'd rather them not buy my all access pass and participate in the summit, because that means they're going to build a stronger know, like, and trust with me to move on past the summit in the post-summit profit strategy. That's where the revenue, that's where the monetization happens, because that's where all the mega solutions or our bigger solutions to solve the problems are going to be. So the bonus day, which is a single day, the encore weekend, which is a weekend, allows our summit attendees to get one more opportunity to jump in and participate and watch any sessions that they may have missed. If they missed day one, or they missed one of the sessions, or they get to rewatch a session that they really liked, because we want them to show up and engage. It also includes a lot of psychological triggers, like beneficial marketing, promotional, sales, psychological triggers, such as surprise and delight, rule of reciprocity, mere exposure effect, etc., as many others. So that's the bonus day, and the encore weekend is another opportunity to allow our attendees to engage. So anybody who couldn't do it during that time now has this opportunity. Then we have the post-summit phase. This is where two things. This is our last chance sequence where you're going to have another sales sequence. We're going to talk about that, but this is also where we need to deliver on anything that we promise. So deliver to your customers. Anything that they purchase, you need to make sure they got. You're going to pay out your affiliates for any of the revenue they earned, and then you're going to start your next promotion. Then we're going to go into the turn. This is also what we call the post summit. This is the ever summit. So this is where we're going to analyze our summit. We're going to optimize our summit, and then we're going to automate our summit. We're going to go through and see what worked. How is our opt-in conversion? If it didn't do well, we need to change or improve our opt-in or registration page. How is our sales conversion? If the sales conversion was low, we're going to improve our offer, make it more valuable. How is our open rates? If the open rates weren't good, we need to change our subject lines. If the click-through rates weren't good, we need to change our email copy. So we optimize it. So we're going to analyze it, then we're going to optimize it, we're going to improve it, and then we automate it. If you're using the Virtual Summit software, for example, let's just jump into that real quick. Let me pull this open and I'll just show you how that works. So if we're using the Virtual Summit software, which is what I highly recommend you use, you're going to be able to do this very simply. So this is the post summit. And also here, if you're inside of Virtual Summit software, you'll be able to check out our communication on this brand new speaker matchmaker that we have in there. Pretty epic. You can find that in the speakers area. This is available for our professional. This is available for our standard, professional, and business premier tiers. There are different levels of access, how many speakers you can reach out to, etc. So I'm going to check this out. So we've got our speaker matchmaker here where we can invite speakers to speak on our summit. And we can create a speaker application here where we can allow speakers to apply for our summit. And then we can, of course, approve or reject those. But as far as the Ever Summit is concerned, in our post summit here, this is where we can activate our Ever Summit feature. So Ever Summit is after the summit. Ever Summit is where we can set, for example, a specific date and then a specific day. So think of this more about the day, what day of the week you want the summit to start and end on, whether we want it to be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, etc. This is great if you are using an automated communication sequence, like an evergreen funnel, or if you want them to just get in as soon as they are, as soon as they see it and they're at their highest level of converting. That's our just-in-time feature. So just-in-time feature allows them to jump in to the summit just in time, day one starting today. So that's inside the Virtual Summits software there. So let's jump back here, and that kind of wraps this out. Analyze, optimize, automate, and then you start the process over and you let that summit continue to go. The turn here, though, is that the post-summit profit strategy, which we'll be talking about later. Okay, so now let's jump into our summit offers. So the different types of offers, okay? So we have different types of offers here. So when it comes to different type of offers, I'm just going to go through those quickly. We have our registration bonus, we have one-time offers, we have summit offers, we have order bumps, we have upsells, we have post-summit offers, and then we have downsells. That's a lot of offers. You may not use all of them, okay? So first off, I say registration bonus. I used to call this a registration offer because you're offering it as a registration gift for anyone who attends the summit. This is really great. So it's technically free. So it's more like a bonus than an offer, but it's important here when it's coming to summits. It's something that you can give. It's typically something I sell. So let's go here and take a look at this. It's typically something I would sell, but I'm giving it away as a bonus or a gift on my summit for participating in the summit. Let's see here. Let's go and check out an example of that. This is a summit we were just playing around with. So if I go here and click on this, it's our Summit Talk Summit, and boom, 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 plus instant access to our Virtual Summit Starter Kit. And if I scroll down here, I have something about that right here. Plus, get instant access to our Virtual Summit Starter Kit. It's a $500 value equipped with everything. So this is a registration bonus that they get just for registering for the summit. And inside of that, just so you see where to put that. So I create that registration bonus, or right here inside of the summit offer. If you're inside of Virtual Summit software, I create that offer. There's the Virtual Summit Starter Kit. Create that offer very simply here, just so you can see where you would put it as well inside of the platform. Boom, boom, boom. I add where they get it. And then when I come to my tiers, I'm going to add that into my registration tier. So anybody who registers will now get this summit offer here, which is the registration bonus. Okay, so that's the registration bonus. And again, it's typically something of high value, something you would normally sell, they get for free just for attending the summit. Then we have our one-time offers and then our summit offers. So let's go with the summit offer first. So the summit offer is what they're going to be buying on your summit. Now, we're going to go through the different summit offer strategies momentarily, so I'm not going to go through the depths of this. There's single tier, triple tier, decoy effect, and anchor tier. We're going to go through that in a minute. But right now, I just want to talk about the summit offer is the thing they're buying on your summit. Your summit is available. Your summit's live. They have an option to buy something. I'll just show an example of this as well, I guess. So my summit's live. Let's go here. And they can purchase something on my summit while my summit is available, and they get it at a special price point. Okay. So for example, I've got my on-demand summit pass, I've got my full access summit pass, and then I have my immersion summit pass. Okay. So those are the things they can buy. It's got a summit offer included into it. Okay. It's got, so full access here, they get this additional thing, and they get this strategy session as well as the on-demand, the et cetera, et cetera. So they get these additional items here included. And of course, this includes everything from the lower tiers. So they also get a ticket to the masterclass. They get the on-demand sessions, they get the audio sessions, and they get the session from our 2023, and then the one-day summit formula, et cetera. So this is all included into these different items. Okay, so that's the summit offer. It's what they're buying on the offer, or on the summit. And again, most commonly confused with all access pass or on demand. All access pass and on demand are included in your summit offer. They are not your summit offer. They are an item that they are going to get in your summit offer. Okay. So it's going to be included. It is not the summit offer. The summit offer should be something of value, like a course or a starter program or a training. It should be a small course, a mini course, or a master class, or a small workshop, etc. Now, in addition to our summit offers, we also have, well, I'll cover, let me see if it's down here. No, so the one-time offer. So a one-time offer is usually, if you're going to do it on your summit, this could be on anything really, but the one-time offer is typically a one-time opportunity for them to purchase something right then and there. So that means if my normal offer is $200, they get an opportunity. It's usually 30 to 50% less. One-time offer, 30% is pretty common, but it's usually 30 to 50% less than what the price is going to be if they don't take action there. And they can only get that price right then and there. If they click off of the offer or it expires, usually there's like a 20 or 30 minute time limit. If they click off of it or the time expires, they lose the opportunity to purchase that offer. Okay. That's a one-time offer. And it's at the only time they're ever going to see that price. And if they click off of it or they remove, like, it's the same offer. It's the same exact offer as your summit offer. The difference is this is one time, and it increases the urgency, increases the pressure to purchase right then and there. So if anybody's on the fence, that pushes them over so that they actually purchase it. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to help. Like, here's the thing to keep in mind when it comes to offers and sales. This is not meant to be scammy or sleazy or slimy. Okay. That only happens if you're trying to make somebody buy something they don't want, or what you're selling doesn't do what you say it does. And like sub B to that, it's not a good program. So if you didn't create it well, now if you did your best, if you created it as best you could, it does what you say it's going to do, and you're only offering it to people who would be interested in buying it, you should not be afraid of selling it. We should have started this entire workshop with that. Okay. If you've done your best at creating it, it does what you said it's going to do, and you're offering it to people who may be interested in it, of the right type of people, which if these people are opting in, these attendees are opting in for your summit, and your summit offer is related to it, which should, remember, it's the beginning of the bridge, then this is an opportunity that they should take action on. And so now here's where you got to switch your mindset. When it comes to an offer, I can give you all the frameworks and strategies and information, etc. But if your mindset isn't right about selling it, you're going to have decreased sales no matter what. And what I mean by that is when you're selling this offer, it should be to the point of where they need this. And if they need this, you should want them to buy it. And if you want them to buy it, you can't be shy about telling them about it. You can't be like, well, I'm not going to tell them, or if they want it, they'll buy it themselves. Now, the thing with this virtual summit is we said it's the relationship building strategy. So we are not only trying to sell this summit offer. That's not the main goal. But if we don't tell them about it, we don't let them know about it, and we don't have some kind of encouragement or influence into it, then they're not going to even know it exists. And that's not doing them a service. That's doing them a disservice. If we have something that they would be interested in and it will help them, then we need to tell them about it. So your mindset should be, I don't care if you buy it or not, but I want you to know about it. Okay. If you want it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But I just need you to know that it exists, because if you do want it and you do need it and you take action on it, it's going to improve your life. Okay. Because it's going to solve that problem. They've got a problem that needs solved. So that should be your mindset. We should have started this entire workshop off with that. If your mindset's not right when you're creating an offer and selling that offer, then you're not going to make sales. And again, it's not sleazy, it's not wrong, and it's not bad. You got to get that out of your mind. If it's to somebody that would be interested, you've done your best at creating it, and it does what you say it does, then you should have no fear and no resistance to telling people about that summit offer. Okay, so the summit offer is the same. It's the thing we're selling on our summit. It's going to have, and we're going to break this down in a framework in a moment. It's going to have the thing that they want. It's going to, the solution is what I call it, the solution to the problem. A training, a video series, a master class, a checklist, whatever. And then it's going to have bonuses, which include on-demand access and all access pass. Okay. So your summit, if your summit offer is $200 during the summit, the one-time offer is going to be the same offer. It's just going to be at a lower price, and you're rewarding people who take action now. It's an incentive to purchase it now. Once they click off or the timer goes away, it's gone. Okay. So that's important there. So that's the one-time offer. We did registration bonus, one-time offer. We've done summit offer. Now we're going to go into our additional offers. Theoretically, technically, you could stop right there. You don't have to have any of the rest of these offers. However, by not doing the rest of these offers, you are leaving money on the table. Meaning, if you have what we're going to go through of the order bump and upsells, you have potentially 30% or more revenue that is waiting for you to get. Okay, on my last summit, 30% of the revenue that came was from the order bump and the upsells. Without those, I would have left 30% of revenue would have never been collected. And that's been typical on all of my summits. Some of my summits, it's even more, but at a minimum, it's been about 30%. I'm going to take one step back. One thing we should have said when we were discussing our summit offers and what makes an offer sell is that it's got to be valuable. It's got to be a good offer. And we went through what makes a good offer. Okay. If your offer is not good, it's not going to sell no matter what sales technique, no matter what way we position it. If it's not if it doesn't have that value, if it doesn't solve a problem and it's not clear, it doesn't matter the rest of this, it's not going to sell. So we went through exactly what to do to make it sell. But without that, it just needs to be stated, it's not going to sell no matter what of these. And that's not just your summit offer, it's your order bumps and your upsells as well. So let's go through the additional offers here. So the additional offers include order bumps, upsells, and then some post-summit offers, which we'll talk about. First one is the order bump. So the order bump is an additional offer that is placed in the checkout. So if they're going to purchase your summit offer and they go to purchase it, it's an additional offer that is placed in the checkout that they can purchase by just adding it into the checkout. And then what that does is it increases the value of your checkout. It increases the revenue you're going to make. It bumps up the order. So this is something that's simple. It's small. It's usually a small price point, anything from like $9 to maximum 97 with, we'll go through price points here in a little bit, but it's shown on the checkout. It's usually an effective strategy. It's not mandatory, but it's beneficial. So an example of that is, and what I mean by that is, if they don't have it, they can still get the solution they're wanting, but this will help them get it quicker or easier, essentially. So it needs to be in alignment with what you're selling with your offer, but it shouldn't be if they don't have, like, they have to buy this to be able to achieve the goal. They're going to feel like you're tricking them or you're cheating them. So this is not in addition, like, it's not something that's critical to the solution. It's usually something that adds and makes it faster, makes it quicker. So for example, the thing we sell, most commonly, we sell a lot of things, but most commonly is our super summaries. So let me go through here. Let me go into this really quick and update this speaker so I can show you an example. So registration, because what was happening here is I'm on the sales page, and since using the Virtual Summit software, this already has me as purchasing it. So the purchase button is already gone because it has me as purchasing it. But now that I have changed that, and that purchase button is back, and if I click here, I can see that this is the order bump right here. Okay, so I can add to that order just by doing that. And so let me just go here. Let's see if I can't just go for a second. All right, I'm going to put that in test mode. Okay, because we're going to end up going through this. Okay, sales page. All right, so here we go. So this adds to order. So this is an order bump very commonly. So what we can see here is we got our sales page, we've got our summit offer. They're like, ooh, I definitely want that. And this has their offer. But now we sell super summary. So in our summit, one of our offers is how to build out your summit. It's something that helps them get started with their summit. But then here it's like, hey, we've got 25 sessions. And if you're busy, you don't have a lot of time, maybe you just want to get through those really quickly. So we've done a 3-minute or less summary of each session so that you can get the most important piece of information super quick without having to sit through all 30 of those. If you want it, just grab the super summary here and they can add that. And so it just bumps up the order like that. Okay. Turn that on just in case. All right. So that's a order bump. And again, an order bump is something that should be complementary. Okay. It's complementary. It aligns with the topic, like research guides, how to cheat sheets, training guides, master classes, those type of things are great order bumps, super summaries, etc. But it is, in like we do here, super summaries, but it should not be mandatory. If it's something that's critical to them getting the success that they need, then they're going to feel like you tricked them and they're not going to want that. Okay. The next thing is our upsells, summit upsells. So with a summit upsell, and then I'll go through, let me go pro strategy, examples in VSS. Okay. Just making some notes here. All right. So with that being said, all right. Okay. So with the summit upsells, so this is the part that a lot of people leave on the table. These literally are typically, okay. So a summit upsell means when someone purchases your summit offer, that you're going to display an additional offer that's only available to the people who've purchased. So no one else, the rest of the attendees don't even know about this offer. Only the people who have purchased get this offer. Now, like the one-time offer, this is a one-time offer. This is a very good example of a one-time offer. It's just in a different position. The one-time offer we were talking about before is your summit offer. That's the same offer as what you're selling on your summit. It's just at a discounted price, and they can only get it at that moment. The upsell is the same concept. They have a very small amount of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. And if they click out of it or the timer expires, then they no longer have that opportunity to purchase it. But the only people who see it are the ones who have purchased the offer. So these are the ones that have raised their hand and said, I'm your warm lead. I'm excited. I'm ready to buy. Buyers buy. So my viewpoint on upsells and order bumps and all of those is I let the customer tell me when they've had enough of me. They don't have to buy it. Now, typically 1 is great. One is good. 3 is about the max. 1 to 3 is your normal amount. We typically do 3. 4 or more, your customers are going to start to get annoyed because they're like, okay, I'm ready to get to my thing that I purchased. Let's go. So 3 is about the max. 1 to 3 is normal. There's no wrong answer. 1, 2, 3. I usually do 3. Now, here's the good thing with the upsells. These are typically things you already have, things you've already created, courses, programs, trainings, etc., that you're just giving them the opportunity to buy now and here. Okay. And it's typically at a smaller price point. So they're getting a discount. They're getting it, like, if you sell this on your website, if you have, you launch this once a quarter or whatever, this is going to be the even smaller price than that. This is a one-time opportunity for them to get that thing, which they can buy it later at the normal price. But if they buy it now, they get it discounted. So that is the urgency that gets them to do it. So this is where a large percentage of the revenue is left on the table. If they just bought your summit offer, they're most likely interested in this. They have this problem and they're interested. They have enough know, like, and trust with you to move forward with you on this offer. So give them the opportunity to move forward with it on other things that are complementary. Now, these may not be things that align with the topic of the summit, but these may be additional problems that they would have if they are the person that is on this journey. And I'm going to show you some examples of this, but some like really easy examples are a short course, a membership program, advanced training, potentially a mastermind. But again, these are not high price points. We're going to go through the price in a minute. So you're going to typically with an upsell have a short sales video, 2 to 5 minutes maximum. It's like what it says, wait, before you go, one more thing. I want you to know about this. If you liked that, you'd probably be interested in this. I just want to let you know about it. You don't have to buy it, but if you want it, I'm going to give it to you at a very special price that you're not going to get anywhere else. That's essentially what it is. So they're presented with this opportunity in this offer. It needs to be valuable and it needs to be a special price, and it doesn't need to be related to the summit. It says this needs to be related to the summit topic, but it needs to be related to the journey they're on. So let's look at a couple examples of this real quick. Okay, so if I go here and I look at these offers in this, so I have my main summit offers, which I just talked about, which these have a course on demand, they have MP3s, they have additional they have some additional bonuses, they have a workshop, etc. It's like depending on the tier they purchase. So these have additional things into it. Now these are my upsells. So my virtual summit starter kit. So again, my avatar, this example is summit hosts, people who are looking to build and create their summit. So this summit specifically is the Summit Talk Summit. So these is the virtual summit on virtual summits, summit hosts or potential summit hosts who are looking to build and host their first summit. So my registration gift, my registration offer, virtual summit starter kit. This will get them started. My offers, okay, and we just name them these to give them a cool name. But if you remember, the offers included on demand, the one-day summit formula training program, full access to the software, a virtual summit strategy session with a live person. So these are all the things, and this is the main one, right? So our immersion gets this plus the other 2 tiers. This gets this plus this tier, etc. Okay. So that's my offers. And then the order bump, as we just talked about, was that super summary. So that's a summary of that. And that's very in alignment. Now, if I have someone who's interested in building out a summit, what are additional things that are not mandatory? They're not required to have this, but maybe other problems they're going to experience in the journey. Well, one of those may be how to do interviews. A virtual summit is a series of interviews. So maybe they don't have any training with summit interviews. So I have our flagship program on doing interviews with Impact. Okay. So that's a really great opportunity for them. And they're going to get it at a price point. We normally sell this at $1,000. They're getting this at the lowest price they'll ever get because, and again, the only people who are going to see these upsells are the ones who have purchased, someone who has purchased one of the Summit offers. After they purchase the Summit offer, they're immediately going to see these upsells, and that's set here in the tier level. So this is the offer. These are the bonuses. Here's the upsells that they will see. If they purchase this, the next thing they'll see is the interview with Impact upsell, the Summit Scripts upsell, Post Summit Profit Strategy upsell. So you can see those upsells are aligned. If somebody is doing a summit, they may need help with their interviews. They also may need help with writing summit email copy. It's a really hard thing for most entrepreneurs is writing effective email copy. So our Summit Scripts program, which gives them already written Summit email copy plus access to over 500 Summit email campaign, Summit emails that they could utilize. And then if they're writing a summit or if they're running a summit, they may want to monetize. And the best way to monetize their summit is after the summit, Post Summit Profit Strategy. So now how does that look? Let me show you that. Let's go back here to this summit. And let's show you how this works. So we've got our summit offer. Once that pops back up here. Okay, so this is in test mode. We're going to test this out. This is on the Virtual Summit software as well. So we'll test this out. Let's go with this one. Boom. So this says this is in test mode. So I can go through and test it. I'm going to add this to my order. I don't have a coupon right now. I'm going to confirm and place that. Yay. Okay. I just purchased the Summit offer plus the order bump. Now, what do I immediately see? I immediately see that next offer. Remember the interview with Impact, which we have right here. Interview with Impact. We created that and then we added that. So I did the full immersion pass. I can see right there. The first thing I'm seeing is that interview with Impact. So I can choose to buy it. So the thing with the Virtual Summit software, which is really effective, is it's a one-click Summit upsell, meaning I click this, I don't have to reinsert all my billing information. So if I'm buying this as an actual customer, I have to put my billing information in for the first Summit offer. But with Virtual Summit software for the upsells, all they have to do is click yes. They don't have to re-put in the information, which increases conversions. So yes, I'm going to buy that one. Oh, Summit Script. So again, each of these has a little video. And then each of them has a description, and then I can buy it or I can say no thank you. And even if I say no thank you, it takes me to the next one. And remember, I have 3 upsells here: interview with Impact, Summit Scripts, Post Summit offer, Post Summit Profit Strategy. I'm going to purchase that. Yes. Okay. Boom. And then now it takes me to my sales page and then, or to the thank you page. Okay. Thank you for registering. Access the summit. And then all of my items that I just purchased, boom, download. All of those things are going to be right here. So these were the full access. So this, I get all of these things that I just purchased. I can download those. And then also, here's those super summary and the order I just got. All of that stuff I just purchased is right there waiting for me. Okay. So that's, I'm kind of showing you multiple things here. I'm showing you how you can do it, how you can actually set this offer up, like how you would build it out. You build it inside of Virtual Summit software and what they are. So that's the order bump. That's the Summit upsells. Upsells are immediately, you're selling them up into more offers, which increases the revenue. And again, I said this at the beginning, I said this a minute ago, and I'm going to say it again. None of this sells if those 3 things aren't accurate. None of this works if it's not somebody who would be interested. So if I'm selling to a summit host and I'm trying to sell a weight loss program, completely off. If I'm selling to somebody who's interested, is on a health summit and they're trying to like get information about, you know, like, I don't know, like gluten allergies. If they're on a summit about gluten allergies and I'm trying to sell them an email copy course, completely off. It's not the right person, not the right offer. So that's got to happen. If my offer sucks, okay, if it's not compelling, it doesn't solve a problem, and it doesn't solve a problem, it's not going to sell. All of that has to happen in order for this to work. Okay. If that happens and it's compelling, then you will have summit sales. And that is how you do the let's just kind of recap here. That's how we go. We start with the opt-in. We're going to give them a registration bonus. This is optional, but I recommend it. Then they have potentially a one-time offer if you want to do a one-time offer. The next thing they're going to have is their summit offer, which they're going to buy on the summit. Okay. Like that's the thing they're buying on the summit. If they go to buy that summit offer, they're going to get an opportunity. Again, these are optional, but I would recommend having them. They're going to get an order bump. But this is a small thing that's a bonus. It's an additional item that they would really want, like a super summary or a registration guide or a research guide or a cheat sheet or a how-to. Then if those who purchase, they're going to see the upsells, the summit upsells. Now, with that being said, the next two things quickly are a post-summit offer. Post-summit offer is where the real monetization happens on a summit. Post-summit offer is what you're going to sell after the summit. Okay, the summit's ended. We had the promotion, we ran the summit was live. We had a last chance sequence, then we did a encore weekend or a bonus day, and then the summit ends. It's done. It's over. Now, so we have people who purchase the summit offers and the order bumps and the upsells, and that's all great. The post summit offer is going to be it's going to be more like a medium price ticket offer. It's going to be a medium priced offer. Now, it's not going to be like the summit offer. Remember, the summit offer is that initial step. The post summit offer is the rest of the bridge. The post summit offer is the rest of the bridge that gets them there. So this is going to be a medium to higher. Now, we're going to go through prices in a minute, so I'll recap on that. But this is going to be somewhere between $500 and like $5,000, with normally $1,000 to $2,000 being kind of the sweet spot. But we'll go through that again. So this is really the main reason for hosting the summit. This is the thing you're trying to sell. This is why you did the summit, is to sell this offer. It aligns them with this main solution that you have. So this is also, it can be like a virtual workshop. It can be an in-person workshop. It can be a coaching program, one-on-one coaching. It can be a membership program. It could be a certification program. It can be a group coaching. It can be a mastermind. It can be a membership. It can be an in-person event or conference. All of those things are good options for a post-summit offer. But usually what it is your flagship item. It's your flagship item. It's the thing you're selling. Okay. It's your flagship item. It's the thing you're selling. Okay. Now, with that being said, we'll go through price points again, and usually it's done in a masterclass or webinar format, so anywhere from 3 to 7 days after the summit ends, after that encore bonus day. Okay, you don't want to do it in the middle of that. You want them still focused on the summit. Once the summit ends, you don't want this to be a month later. If you're a month later, they've forgotten about you and they're on to the next thing. You want this to be 3 to 7 days after that summit ends. You're doing a webinar or a masterclass or a sales sequence, and they're buying. You're telling them about this offer, this post-summit offer, and they're purchasing it. And then after that, you move them into the post-summit profit strategy. Okay, so this happens right after the summit ends, after the encore weekend or bonus day, but once it ends, 3 to 7 days. That being said, again, these are optional, but if you're hosting a summit, this post-summit offer is probably one of the main reasons you're hosting this summit. You're hosting it to build your audience, but then to monetize that audience, it comes after the summit. Okay, because you will make money on the summit. That summit offer will make money, but if you've got speakers and affiliates, like you should, you're going to be sending a percentage of that. Usually 30% of all sales come from affiliate and speakers, and 50% of that you're giving to the summit, to the speakers and the affiliates. And on top of that, you're going to have costs. It's costs that it took you to build the summit. And if you're using Virtual Summit software, the platform, your email host, if you're paying a VA or a graphic designer, or a video editor, the money that you're making from the summit is typically going back into paying for the summit. And then your post-summit offer is where the revenue comes. Now, one additional thing, this is optional, but the downsell. So maybe the $2,000 offer was too much, but you need to sell them something after this. So an additional opportunity, if they don't buy the post-summit offer, and there's actually 2 ways of doing the post-summit offer. Post-summit offer can be done to everyone. Send it to just everybody who attended the summit, show up for this webinar, boom, we nail it. Now, if it's a higher level, if it's a higher price, if you're getting to the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 mark, somebody who wouldn't even buy your $97 or $49, summit offer, that on demand, is probably not going to buy a $5,000 program. So why hit them with that? Okay. So there's two levels of thinking here. I'm just going to hit it to everybody because maybe somebody is now ready to buy, and that is a better option for them than the summit offer. Maybe they literally did not want the on demand and they didn't want the little initial, but they want the full thing here. So that's a good thought process. There's no wrong answer with this. There's just two ways of doing it. So you can either do it to everybody and hope some of the people who were attendees that didn't buy are ready to buy this. Or the other way is if you have a massive summit, if you've got like 8,000, 10,000, this is what we did on our bigger summits, on our mega summits, or summits that do 10,000 leads or more, 10,000 attendees or more. We don't hit everybody with the post summit offer because we're going to push away a lot of those 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000 people. Plus it costs money to send out that amount of emails. So we're only going to invite the people who have purchased one of our summit offers, only the people who purchased one of those tiers of the summit offers will be invited to the post summit offer because they've already purchased. Now, this is an opportunity for them, and there's ways of doing this. You can say, hey, whatever you purchase on this is a really good way to incentivize them is during the summit offer, during the webinar, when you're pitching it, is anybody who purchased, which you're going to know all of them, anybody who purchased the summit offer, you can apply that amount to this post summit offer. So if they had $47 or $197, whatever the offer is, they can take it off of that $2,000. You give them a discount code. That's like, oh, wow. Like, it's like, I got that for free. I might as well use this towards that. That's a really good incentive, a really good strategy. The other strategy, like I said, is only giving it. So you've got only giving it to the people who purchased, or you can give it to everybody. If you have a mega summit, I wouldn't give it to everybody. So if you've got a summit that's 500 people or 1,000 people, give them all the post summit offer. Go for it. Because again, if you got 30,000 or 50,000 attendees, every single email you send out costs, and you're going to get a lot more opt-outs. You're going to get opt-outs on the other ones. Worry about opt-outs. That's just the nature of the game. If you're talking 50,000 people, you're talking, 5, 6, 7, 800 opt-outs versus 1, 2, 3, or 5. Anyways, you can, if you have a smaller summit, I would say send it to everybody. Bring everybody to your post summit offer. If you've got a mega summit, 10,000 leads or more, I would only invite the people who purchased the summit offer. So maybe you got a couple hundred people to this post summit offer. Now the downsell. So the downsell is two things based on what we just talked about. If you're doing the post summit offer to everyone, it's anyone who didn't buy. Anyone who didn't buy the post summit offer is going to get the downsell. What is the downsell? It's a smaller offer. It's something that is also beneficial, but it's going to be a much smaller price point. So you're looking at like $97 to $500 potentially. I mean, it says here 10 to 20% less than your post summit offer, but essentially it's going to be much less. It's going to be less than the summit offer because the reason you probably have a lot of people that attended the summit that are interested, they're just afraid of the price. They're not ready to commit $1,000 or $3,000, but they might commit $300 or $100. So again, especially if they've got a compelling offer. Now, this is not your summit offer. Remember, your summit offer is over here. It's the initial bridge. The post summit offer and the downsell need to be the full bridge. It connects it. Now, remember, the full bridge, if we're doing a post summit offer, could connect them to the aspirational character, but it can get them quicker there. It can get them there quicker, easier, and more with more resources or more done with you or done for you. The bottom here, and we're going to go through some of this in a second, the downsell, which still connects the bridge. You might be saying, well, why would somebody pay for this bridge up here when they could use this bridge? Well, this bridge is still going to give them the answers, but it's not going to give them all the resources. They're going to have to do it themselves. Where up here is probably more done for you or done with you, more resources that are of value that cost you money that you're going to include. Down here, they get the knowledge, but they got to do the rest of the work on themselves. So that's what a downsell is. Now, you can either, again, do the post summit offer, and whoever does not purchase, then they get the downsell. Or if you're doing where the only people who are getting the post summit offer are the ones who purchased on your summit. So the only people seeing the post summit offer are the ones who purchased the summit offer. Then everybody else can get this downsell. Everybody else can get the secondary offer because you do want to sell these people something because that's money right there. Again, The monetization strategy is after the summit. It's the post-summit offer. So whether it's the main post-summit offer or the downsell, that's where the monetization strategy exists. So we definitely want to do that. Okay. Let me check my notes here. So we went through registration, bonus or gift. We went through the one-time offer. We went through the summit offer, which is the main thing. We're going to go through the frameworks of it and price points here in a second. We went through the order bump, which bumps up the order. We went through the upsells, which is what increases the revenue on the summit. It's additional things that will be complementary to the journey they're on. Post-summit offer connect is the bridge that connects them between the pain and the problem and the aspirational character. Downsell is that bridge, but at a lesser version. So meaning like less done with you, done for you, which will make more sense here in a second. Okay, so offer templates. So now we're going to go through the frameworks of these, and then we're going to get into like price points of the different things. So framework. So summit offer framework here. This is the main thing. And again, this is kind of generic. Like this is not biblical. This is not law. You can adjust this, but this is pretty relevant. Okay. So, well, actually this is a template. Let me see if I've got, yeah. And this is where we'll go through. So actually what I'll do, we'll just go through this real quick. So first off, summit offer template. So it's a quick win solution. Your summit offer is that quick win. It's the initial bridge. Okay. It's going to be a summit offer. You're going to have an order bump, which can be a super summary, a product or a resource. And this is the way we would do it. The summit offer is a quick winner solution. You've got the order bump, which is super summary or additional product, additional resource. Upsell 1, digital course, my interview with impact. Upsell 2 can be a course, a training, or a program. So for mine, it was a program, Summit Scripts. And then upsell 3 can be like a membership. It can be, you could do a digital course for all 3, but the thing is, if they're buying all these digital courses, they're going to be like, that's too much. I'm never going to get through all these. So you kind of want to switch it up a little bit if you're doing the upsells. So order bump, great thing is a super summary, makes it easy. Upsell 1, here's an additional course, interview with impact, for example. Upsell 2, a training program, makes it easy. It's not more work. So the course they've got to learn. Summit Scripts, here's already done templates, email templates that you can use. Okay, I'm not making them learn more. Upsell 3, post-summit profit strategy. It's a course, but the way it's set up is it's more about giving them the resources to monetize, and they want that. So they don't have to learn it, they just have to implement it. I also very often will switch out that post-summit profit strategy for my Summit Accelerator program, which is a membership. So this right here is our typical way, course, a training or a program that they can just get resources from, and then a membership. So those are your upsells. Post-summit offer, it's a higher ticket solution. Again, we talked about that workshop, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, membership, mastermind, in-person event, etc. Downsell is going to be a simpler version of whatever the high ticket offer is. Okay. So now let's go through the framework of how to put this together. So this is your summit offer. All offers have very similar framework. Okay. All offers have very similar framework. So the summit offer, you're going to have whatever the quick win. So you got to name it. Okay. You got to name your offer. You want it to be cool. Like even mine was not that cool. Let me see if I can find another example for you. Like I would even say my team got a little lazy on these offers. They're not horrible. On demand, summit pass, full access, and immersion. Those are okay. But if I'm going to be honest with you, my team got a little lazy on that. So let's see if I can find, let's see what this is. See what these are. So this is pretty boring too, but this is a decoy effect. I'll show you this. Well, this is one of my first summits way back when. So VIP and elite. That's okay. Let's see here. What are the summit offers here? So this is a single offer, but this is the 6-figure all access. So 6-figure is pretty good as well. Let's see. Let's see what this one is. This one does not have, it was in draft, does not have an offer yet. Let's see, does this have an offer? Some of these are demo summits. Okay, so executive kit versus VIP kit, which is very on point with their side hustle, for example. Let me see down here. See if we can find another one. I want to find this other, where did I have that at? Summit. I'm missing it somewhere. That's the demo. Let's see, that's the series. All right, let's try this. All right, so this is more, so this was the Summit Pack, the Summit Pass, Summit Pack, and Summit Super Pack. Again, creative, a little bit more on point. Let's see one of these summits. Let's see what this offer is. Okay, they haven't updated that yet. Okay, so you get the picture here. The point is it's got to have a name. Okay, it's got to be good. The name should be compelling. It should be interesting. It should be inspiring, and it should match your summit theme. Okay, all of those names match the theme. Some of them were boring, but they match the theme. So your summit name should match your theme. Okay, if you got a Star Wars summit theme, your name of your these say tiers, but the name of your offer could be like, like lightsaber, baton, or it could be even like Jedi, Master Jedi, and like the whatever the top Jedi is. I'm obviously not super familiar with that, but it matches your theme. Should be cool. It should be interesting. Most important thing is the quick win. That's that initial part of the bridge. That's the thing that's making the summit offer. That's the part that they're going to buy. That's the thing that makes them go, okay, it's what do they want? They want the all access pass and the on demand. But whether they're going to convince themselves to buy it is because of this. They're going to go, yeah, I want the all access pass and that on demand. Oh, it comes with this 7-day starter guide for that, or this resource, this, or that training. Perfect. This is now a great offer. So that quick win solution is what they're going to convince themselves to purchase. What do they want is on demand and all access. On demand is the recording, so they keep access to that. Now, if you're in Virtual Summit software, this is all done with the software, so it's pretty much all automatic for you. But just to give you an example here, where was that summit that was going on? So to give you an example of that, inside of the tiers, this is where you determine the all access pass. You just simply click this, all access pass and on demand. So by clicking that, it immediately gives the attendees who purchase, for example, this offer. If they purchase this offer, they move from this registration tier into this tier, and this tier has that, all of these bonuses and access to that all access pass and on demand. So all access gives them immediate access. If they buy it before the summit or after the summit, it unlocks all the sessions. Okay. So it's all access. It gives them all access to all of the sessions right then and there. It's very enticing for people who purchase before the summit. They go, I don't want to wait for the summit to start. I just want it now. All right, here's $49. Give me the all access, and boom, they're going to jump in and watch the sessions they want to watch. That's a really good incentive to purchase. And then there's others who are like, I don't have time to go through this all right now. I want to get access to I want to keep access to it later. That's the on-demand part. So all access and on-demand. Those are very big incentives. That's what people want, but they get mad that they have to pay for that. So we want to give them a quick win solution. We want to name that offer. We want to name that tier. We want to give them an offer, give them a solution that provides them the initial barrier to that bridge. And then we're going to include on demand and all access. Okay. Next, 1 to 7. 7 is maximum. Do not do more than 7 bonuses. Okay. And honestly, 4 bonuses is really the most you should have. But here's how you stack those bonuses so you can have more and make it even more value without going over the 4. So let's see. How can I go back to, see if I can get back to that page, sales page. Okay. And actually I better put this back on live because we got some promotions going. Okay. It is on live. Okay. So with that being said, what do we have here? All access, ticket, on demand, audio versions, and on demand from 2021. Now, if I stack that with these, These, it would be like 12 bonuses. But what do we do? So this is this on demand. This is our lower pass. Okay, boom. So they get all of these. Then this pass gets everything from the on demand summit pass. They get all of those things there, plus this and this additional solution. So this is the solution we're now selling. So this is our small, technically this, in this pass, this is the solution. But here, this is the solution we're selling. The one-day summit formula, this course. And it includes all of these other bonuses, plus one additional bonus. And then on our main tier, they get all on demand. They get all full access, which includes this. But the thing we're solving here, the solution we're solving here is 2 parts. They get a strategy session with a Summit X strategist. So that's solving the solution, that initial solution. I don't know how to get started. I don't know what to do. I need somebody to kind of give me that first step. And they're also getting this as an additional bonus. So you can see each one of these passes has a additional solution, has a solution with bonuses. Okay. So that's important. And they're all named something. So they're named something cool. They have a quick solution. They all include include on demand and all access. And then they each have 1 to 4 bonuses. But again, you can stack those by on demand has a few bonuses, like our tier 1 has a few bonuses. Tier 2 has those bonuses plus 1 or 2 more. Tier 3 has all of the 3 tiers, all of those 2 tiers plus even more. That's how you can stack those. So that's the framework. Okay. That's the framework. Now let's do price points. Okay. And again, I gotta say, like, this is not law. This is not biblical. This is not like you have to do this or else. These are guidelines. This also depends on your industry and niche. The easiest way to determine this is go check another summit out in your space. See what another summit is doing. Also check out people in your space. What are they offering? What are those price points? That's the easiest way. Do a little research, okay? So here we go. Our summit offer. Now, this is specifically talking about the decoy effect. We're going to talk about sales strategies, or the tier strategies. There's multiple now. When I created this guide, it was before one of these strategies even existed. The most popular was the decoy effect. We're going to talk about that. Just don't worry about that for this moment. It'll make sense in a minute. But the main thing to understand is your tiers are going to be somewhere between, and it's even lower than this. Some people are now doing as low as $37, which is pretty cheap. $37 for the lowest, upwards of, you can even have, you saw ours higher than that, but most common is between 47 and 197. That's the most common. And really probably the most common price points I see is 59, 79, and 119. That's the most common. That's the most common. It doesn't mean it's right. Again, these are guides. These are ranges. Use what you want. Again, if your audience is a general consumer, meaning like, if it's a health summit, these are people looking to get information about health. They're general consumers. It's going to be cheaper than if you have a professional audience like attorneys, dentists, financial advisors, etc. If you have a professional audience, it's going to be more. Order bumps range anywhere from $9 to $97, with $9 to $29 being the most common. Upsells, you saw that up there. They range between, upsell 1 kind of goes like this. What you want to do is kind of like this little arc. You're going to go a little bit less, like wherever the price point is here. Your second one's going to be a little bit more, and then the third one's going to be less. So these are the ranges that you can look for that. Again, post summit offers, depends on your niche, ranges between 500 and 5,000 most commonly. And I did this just because people always ask, but these are guides. Please know this is guides. You can do what you want. Very often people go, well, Mark, you said my workshop should be $2,500, but I don't think I can sell it for $2,500. Then don't sell it for $2,500. These are guides, okay? I have a workshop that I sell for $3,000, and I have a workshop that I sell for $79. It depends on what's in the workshop, right? So workshops though can go, from as like small little, like the 3-hour workshops I do for like 79 to 97. My 2-3 day workshops I do for 3,000. So these are workshops. Certifications, because you're making it more prestigious. should go between 500 all the way up to I mean, some certifications, depending, you're probably not going to sell those on a summit because remember, cold audience, but selling a certification, 500 to a couple thousand. One-time one-on-one coaching. Again, if you're trying to sell a $10,000 coaching, you need to do that on a different platform. With a summit, you're not going to get past that $5,000 mark. So what you can do, if you go, well, Mark, my one-on-one coaching is 12 months and $10,000 or $20,000, well, then sell a quarter. One-on-one coaching for a quarter. Okay. Certificate, like, well, the certification is fine, but group coaching for a quarter or for half a year. If your price points are way there, reduce it somehow. Sell it for a quarter or half a year. But if you're going to, or don't sell it because you're not going to get much higher than this. We've tested it. Some people say, no, you can sell a high ticket offer, a $10,000 offer on a summit, not by running it like a summit. They're doing it differently. They're doing it like a live stream conference is what they're doing. Group coaching and then mastermind, $50 to $500. This is per month. This is like a lot of times people will sell a mastermind as a bundle. So like, 5,000, 10,000, whatever, or you can sell it at this. Download's going to be 10 to 20%. You could even go as low as 50% because this here says maximum 400. So this is important, like 10 to 20% less, but at a maximum 400 is your down sell. Okay. We got to get going. So this, we have so far covered what makes an offer sell. What is a summit offer? The different types of summit offers. We've gone through the price points of summit offers. We went through what a summit is and the flow of a summit. We've gone through examples inside of Virtual Summit software. Now we need to look at the different type of summit offer strategies. And these are more like their sales strategies and their offer strategies. Okay. Here's another thing. Offers and tiers sometimes get used universally. Okay. And this is apparent here inside of the Virtual Summit software. Offers, the thing we're selling. Tiers is the access level. So inside of this tier is the offer that we're selling. And if they buy that offer, they get access to this tier, which gives them access to what they purchased and all the bonuses. Additionally, if they buy this offer, then they will not receive, but they will access that next upsell to then have the opportunity to purchase it. That is kind of confusing. But just know that they don't get these upsells. They get access to purchase them. Okay. So a summit offer is what we're selling. It's the thing. And think of it. I usually like to name it either like this, full access or immersion, or I like to name it off of what that quick solution is I'm selling, the 1-day summit formula or cheat sheet guide this. Okay. So that's the offer versus tiers. Where is this? Okay. Oh yeah. So we're going to switch over now. We've done that. So now we're going to talk about, offers, tiers. This is it's hard to separate these. This is an offer, summit offer strategy, but it's also tiers. Okay. So I'm going to show you this and you have these guides in this workshop. You'll have these included. So summit, these are examples of the different strategies. So these are going to map out those strategies that I'm talking about. These are not sales strategies. These are the offer kind of positioning strategies or the tier positioning strategies. And I've gone through and I've done examples of these. So you're going to see them and get examples. So the four most common types of summit offer structures or tier structures: simplified or single, which has been around forever; the 3-tiered, which has also been around forever; the decoy effect, which has been the most popular over the last 5 years. It has not been around forever, but like 7 or 8 years ago, it became very popular, still very popular. We'll go through that. And then the anchor tier, which we invented about 3 or 4, I think 4 years ago now, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now. Anchor tier, which we were just testing something out and we ended up creating a whole new type of offer structure. So start with the first one, the simplified offer structure. It's a single, it's simple, it's one offer. Okay. I'm going to show you here, and then I'll also show you inside of the Virtual Summit software in a sec as we go through these. So the single offer keeps it focused on one thing. It removes confusion, choice. It's like you either want it or you don't. So if you're going to do a single focus, it means there's only one offer. There's not 3 offers. There's one offer. And I would never do 2 offers, one offer or 3. One offer and they either want it or not, which means you need to make sure you have an incredible summit offer, more than 10 times the value, very compelling name, really great quick win, simple solution, and some great bonuses. It's got to be stellar because that's the only option they have to buy. So single tier, and this is usually done, again, this price point can vary based on your niche in your industry, professional or consumers, but very commonly it's done with the smaller price point between 27 and 97. And then these are the three most common prices: 37, 67, and 97. Now, again, there's been summits that have tried it with different things. So I've heard summit hosts do the $9 and they'll get tons of those sales, but it won't even scratch the surface of if you just had it at 97, because 50% of them would have bought no matter what. This is the thing you don't understand. Most people are going to buy. Everybody buys on price. Okay. The people who want to buy are going to buy this is why a lot of times the 3-tier is great, because there is a smaller option for people who cannot afford it, but everybody buys on price. And we'll talk about that with the decoy effect here in a second. But these are the 3 most common price points. But keep in mind, if we have 10 people buy at $97, that's $1,000. I have to have 100 people buy at $9 to get to that same price. Actually, I have to have 110 people buy, essentially, or something along those lines, or 100, whatever, 90. So the point is, you need far less people to buy to get a higher price point, the higher up your price point is to a certain level. You start going up to 200, 300, 400, 500, then you need to use the anchor tier strategy, which we'll talk about. So a couple examples of these: EMF Hazard Summit. So we can see here, let me just kind of zoom in on these. EMF Hazard Summit here. Okay, so we can see here they got instant access, video replays, MP3 downloads, transcripts, immediate access. That's the same thing as all access. Immediate access, instant access, access immediately. They said it the same way. But you can see here, this one's $37. So there were additional bonuses provided by the speakers, but they're not shown in this image. So they got that plus these 6 bonuses provided by the speakers. So that's a single offer. The Marketing Strategy Summit, we can see here what's included: instant access, same concept, video replays, etc. Had 7 additional bonuses that were by the speaker, but at the checkout, they're just here and it's 97. So this is to a higher price point because it is, it's like, this is a general consumer up here. This is a marketing. So this is going to be more professional audience. So this is an example of the 2 different price points of difference. Okay. So, and now let me go show you on Virtual Summit Software. Single offer was, I believe, this one. Let me check. Nope. And multiple offers, that's decoy. Let's check this one. Okay. So this is a single offer here. So if we go look at the sales page, I think I clicked the wrong thing. So let me see it one more time here. So this is the same thing. This is positioning it as a decoy effect, but for whatever reason, it's positioning all 3. Let me see if I can just find. Okay, let's do this one. This one has it. Okay, single offer. Super simple, easy. I've already got this purchased, so it's staying current, but this is easy. Normally you'd have a sales video here, but this is the offer. This is one single offer, platinum next level. I'm not giving them any other choice but to do this. Now you'll say, well, Mark, you said $9 is low. It is, but keep in mind the people who have access, this was a paid program. People that got access to this have already paid $97 just to get access to this program. What I'm offering them is a $9 solution here with the intention of several more upsells, which is where I know I'll monetize. So that's like an advanced sales strategy. The point here is to just see we have an image, we have a cool name, we have what it's about, we've got the bonuses here, Boom. So that's a single offer, just like the other example inside of the guide. Okay, so our next thing is the 3-tiered offer. So this is very, very, very common. 3-tiered offer is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They essentially just go about 20 to 30% more each tier. So we're not going crazy. So it's most commonly, it says this is the most common used in all of marketing and sales, not some, it's all of marketing and sales. Gives them 3 options: simple and low, medium, and slightly higher. Now, this is not high. This is slightly higher, 20% or more above. Okay. So the point of this is people purchase based on price, and we want the prices to be close enough where this is like but I also want that. Okay, I'll get that. Well, but I also want that. It's almost like a stair stepper. I should probably rename this to the stair stepper tier, because what happens is, for example, like they're not that much different. Like, so I would even say, let's go. I would even like to see these a little bit lower. I'd like to see 57, but these are two like more professional. I'd like to see 57, 97, and 147 would be my ideal here if I was doing it like this. And actually I would go 79, 97, and 119, which is actually a very common one. Now, why is that 70? And maybe I would say at 57, 57. This is where you start to split hairs. So 57, 97, and 119, because somebody goes, ooh, 57, I love this, but it doesn't have this, this, and this, which we can see in that. It's like, oh, it's got, I mean, you can't really make it out in this, but you can see here that it's got all these green checks, and then there's these red checks right there. So they're like, ooh, people buy on price. They're immediately going to go, nope, nope, nope. Okay, 97, what's in that? Yep, I like that, I like that, I like that. Oh, but I do want that. Okay, so they go, okay, man, well, this is only a couple, $20 more, $30 more. Yep, I like that, I like that. Oh, but I really want that. Everything's here. Now, this is a big jump. Okay, this is a much bigger jump. It's definitely within the 3-tier price point, but it's at the higher end. That's the high end I'd go at the 3-tier price point. 119 is the lowest I'd go at the higher tiered price point. But 119, you can see where they go 97 to 119. That's easy. But going 57 to 197 is a pretty big jump. 57 to 119 is also a big jump. But this is why it's more like a stair stepper. They're immediately going to go to the lowest one, but then they're going to see, well, I want those things too. Well, 87. If this was 57 and 87, they go, well, 87 is not that much more. Okay, it's got all those. Oh, but I really want this one. And then if this was 119, 87 to 119. So it's stair stepping. It gets them from here to the middle. Once they're in the middle, from the middle to the higher is not much higher. Now, this is not going to go for everyone, but it's how we can increase the revenue per customer purchase. Revenue per purchase is because we can stair step them up. And it's one of the reasons this is the most common sales positioning, the most common offer positioning out of all marketing offers, is because if they like this, they're going to like that, and it's not that much more. And so you can increase your price per sale by 20 to 50% by doing that. Here's another example. Here's a couple more examples. The Wealth Success Summit, 47, 77, 197. And you can see these were chopped down, and same thing. They got these. And then, oh, but I really want those, go here. Oh, but I really want that. So it's there. And then this is Freedom Kitchen Summit. So we can see. And then, of course, we're going to tell the attendees, oh, this is the best deal. Or we're going to say, this is the best. We're going to help psychologically direct them to the one we really want them to purchase. You might say, well, why wouldn't we always try and get them to purchase the bigger one? Because we might know that this audience is not likely most of them are not likely going to spend that full amount. Most of them are going to try and come right here. So we want to push them one tier up. So we might be like, oh, this audience, 77 is such a good price point. Most people are going to end up here. This will be the most common purchase, and we want to try and push them one price point up. Again, we're getting kind of deep in the sales strategy, but you asked for a high ticket summit offer. So that's the 3-tier effect. Now let me go here and show you one inside of Virtual Summit software. Let's see if I can find one quickly. I mean, that was a pretty good example. Let's see what this has. Yeah, so just ignore this. This is, they have a tier labeled free. That's just automatic. But here, this is what we're talking about here. So they have this. This is a perfect example. Small, medium, slightly higher. So they know that people are going to buy based on price, but like they're not going to get access to these things. But what they've done is they've included an additional, some additional bonuses, which are not listed here. They're actually in the video. And on top of that, then they go, I want them going up here. So they're going to take them from 49 to 99. So this is on the low end of the 3-tier spectrum. Okay. This is on the low end of the 3-tier spectrum, but you can see there that offer. Okay. So moving forward. Okay. We've got the decoy effect. So the decoy effect is a pretty common thing that's been going on for years now, and because of buying mentality. This is all psychology. As a doctor, it's one thing I nerd out on a lot. So you've probably heard me talk about the decoy effect a lot. So what happens, and this has all been based off of scientific studies and research and psychology, and that's all here. You've got that. But essentially the point of this is that people buy based on price. Okay. They know they want it and they want to buy. So they go to your offer. They're going to look, they're going to scan, they're going to go, ooh, 197, 97, 47. All right. 47 is the lowest one. And then they're going to scan that one and they're going to go, yep. It has what I want. And as long as it has what I want, I'm good. Now, a percentage of them may go for the stair stepper, the 3-tier, which we talked about. But the decoy effect increases dramatically your price per sale, the revenue you're going to collect. So what I mean by that is if you have 100, if you run a normal 3-tiered offer or a single offer and you have 100 sales, you're not going to make more sales. You'll still have 100 sales, but you're going to have more revenue out of those 100 sales, because in a 3-tiered framework, you're going to have 70% are just going to go based on the lowest offer, the $47 offer. So 70 people are going to buy that and 30% are going to buy one of the higher offers. With the decoy effect, it flips. You're going to have more people. You're going to have like, you know, something like 40 or 50% are going to buy the smaller offer, and 50 or 60% are going to buy the higher offer. And the reason this works is the decoy effect essentially has 3 tiers. It has a small tier, okay, or a lower tier. And then it has 2 additional tiers, which are the exact same price, but one thing is different. Okay. So what did we just talk about? We said that people buy based on price. So what they're doing is they're giving their attention, their perspective, their focus on the lowest tier. So if this was 119.97, they're going to scan 119.97 and then 79. This is also why a lot of time people put on the 3-tier, they'll put the small tier, the medium tier, and the bigger tier in the middle, because when you're scanning it, they want your focus to be right there in the middle. Focus, attention, perspective, because you're going to convince yourself it's what you should buy, or your attendees will. So with the decoy effect, you've got the lower tier here, but then the 2 tiers here are going to be the exact same price. Why? Because when I'm scanning, I'm going to scan price. I'm going to go 119, 119. Wait, what? Why are these both 119? It's going to bring my attention back to be like, did they make a mistake? And then I'm going to be like, what's different? This says 119 online plus flash drive. This is 119 flash drive only. Why is that? And then I'm going to start looking through this to see what's in it. Well, it's got a money back guarantee. It does have the online. It's got more than this. And I'm going to convince myself into actually buying this package, which is what we want them to purchase. This package is a decoy. We have no intention of anybody buying it. Why? Because it's the same price as this one, but it's got less in it than this one. So it's a decoy. It's just to get their attention and go, wait, why is that the same as this? Why are these two the same price? Because it removes their focus from this one. It brings their attention back up here, which is going to increase the number of sales you have there. So that's an example of that. Here's another example, Parasite Summit. They did this on the opposite side. They did this decoy effect with the smaller option, with the smaller price point. So we've got $69, $99, $69. Now here's what they're doing. They probably still got people to purchase this higher ticket. Why? Look at what they're offering. On this 69, it has everything except that simplified thing, that initial offer we talked about, the simple solution. This has the simple solution, but it doesn't have the middle stuff, which is access to all of the MP3s, the transcripts. It gives them all access and the solution. So they get to keep the summit and they get that course or whatever, the simple solution, but they don't get the MP3s. They don't get the trainings. They don't get all these extra guides and stuff, the transcripts. So they're going to go, but I want these things. I want this and I want that. Where's the solution? Right here in the middle. It has all of them. This is actually a genius solution. I've not tried this one personally because I just found this about a year ago. In my summit offers, we've primarily focused on the anchor effect, but I think this is a solution, a genius solution for anybody who has a smaller tiered option. Here's another example of the same thing. You can see here, they did this from the other answer, 69, 99, 69. And so let's go take a look at one of these inside of Virtual Summit software, which we clicked on that earlier. The expert speaker workshop. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So we can see here, VIP, elite plus free bonus. What? Elite plus free bonus. Why are these the same prices? So then they're going to go all access, post summit. Now they're reading through this and I'm like, wait, I don't get it. Same price, audio, awesome bonuses. What's the difference? Oh, they get this plus free bonus course. And that would be listed up in the video. That would be up there. And so that is the decoy effect. So you can see this here again on Virtual Summit software, how they position that as well. Okay, last one here is the anchor tier. Now, none of these, I shouldn't say, none of these are right or wrong. All of these are kind of your preference, what feels right. I mean, the 3-tier, stair-stepper tier is most popular in marketing and sales, so it's got to be great. Decoy is probably the most popular in summits by all of the summit agencies and companies. But the anchor tier is one we established in 2020 when we were like, okay, we were testing a post-summit offer. We wanted to do a high-ticket post-summit offer. We know that people don't buy these higher tickets. We wanted to do a $10,000 offer. We said maybe the thing that's happening is people are having price shock from going from the summit with a 57, 97, 197, and then 10,000. So we said, let's go ahead, let's run our summit. We'll still have like the 57 and 97, but instead of like 197, let's make this one like 700 or, 1,000 or 600. So we actually did 500, 700, and then 1,000. So one-time offer, summit live, and then post-summit, what the price point was on this anchor tier. Our whole goal, we had no intention of selling that tier. The goal was to have people see that and go, wow, that's an expensive thing. And then buy this. And then once we did the post-summit offer and we sold a $3,000 or $4,000 offer, I believe it was that. I don't think we've only tried to sell a $10,000 offer on a summit once and it didn't work. We've seen other people do it as well and it not work. But I think we were trying to sell like a $3,000 or $4,000 offer. So we said, let's just show them a higher ticket offer. And hopefully that will make this one not seem so extreme from 57 to 5,000 or whatever. What we found out was we ended up making 70% of all of the revenue from the summit came from that anchor tier. Now, what you might initially think is, well, so that many people bought the anchor tier? No, there was only like 10 people out of the 100 people that bought the anchor tier. But since that anchor tier was $700, 10 people purchasing it, that was $7,900 from 10 people, whereas 100 people buying the $50 thing was 5,000, for example. And that's not counting the post some or the upsells, et cetera. But that was the difference. 10 people made more than 100 people or whatever buying this offer. And that's when we were like, whoa, wait a second. Maybe we've been thinking about this all wrong. Instead of price anchor, and we called it the anchor because originally we were trying to price anchor a higher price. We called it this was the anchor tier. It was going to anchor the price. What we ended up realizing was that actually generated far more revenue, because on your summit, you're going to have people who are just like, give me whatever, I'm stoked, let's go. It may be one, it may be five, it may be four, but if it's a $500 price point, 4 people, that's $2,000. Okay. And so that's exactly what we did. And then we started playing with that or testing that. And what we found out is that worked pretty much every time. So here's an example. The first time we ran Summit Talks, we had 47, 97, and then the anchor tier was 497. Now, this was the one-time offer. So this actually went up on the summit when the summit went live. This went up, all of these went up. Here's another example. Here's 2 other examples. So 67, 117, and then 387. Again, this is a general consumer summit. And then here's another one. This is the one-time offer. It actually says here, you can see the anchor tier. But you can also see positioning. We've changed the positioning and what are we promoting. So on this one, we're promoting this because we think that's, most people are going to try and buy this one. We want to get them up here. But this was the one-time offer. This went up to 397 on the summit. So one-time offer, they had one opportunity to get it at this price. And then we told them it's going up to 397, which is what it did. So that anchor tier, 397 all the way up to 497, which was our one-time offer. And then that went up to, like you can say it's listed here as one-time offer. But then it went all the way up to 750 and then 997. And let's see if I can show that in. Let me see if I can go back into that and show an example of this. Yeah, let's see if this one has it still in here. Yeah, so here you can see it. So this is the summit has this summit, the one time, this is not the one-time offer deal because I can just click on the page. So I've got 67, 197, and then 697. And so this is the same thing. It's just, this is the anchor tier. So that's an example inside of Virtual Summit software. And again, the anchor tier, you may not want to do that. And what I would say is if you're not confident in your offer, do not do the anchor tier. Because if you are not confident in your offer, this anchor tier is not going to be ideal. Okay, so you need to be confident in your offer. You need to probably have had an offer that's running already, etc. Okay, so I think that is all of the anchor tiers. Let me check my notes, or all of the tiers. Again, we have single tier, the triple tier or stair stepper, decoy effect, and then the anchor tier. Only running anchor tier if you're confident in your offer, you've run an offer like that similar, you know it's going to convert. Examples, I'm just going to show you how to set this up in Virtual Summit software really quick. We've kind of went through this already, but just so you've seen this. Boop, boop, boop. So inside of Virtual Summit software, you're going to have your offers here. You create your offers quite simply. Image, name, price point. What's the value? Like, what is that offer actually worth? And then is it a reoccurring payment? Is it months, weeks, or until canceled? You're going to put a description of it there. If this is an upsell, if this was an upsell, you can put the video, like you saw video. This will go on the upsell page right there so they can watch a video. This is the deliverables. So if it's a file, a download, you can put that there. If it's a link to like a course, a membership program, or access to somewhere, a group, whatever, you put that there. After you create your order bump offer the same way. All offers are created the same. Registration bonus offer, small tier, middle tier, high tier, anchor tier, whatever it is, the offer, the thing, you create them all the same. The upsells you create the same, and the super sum or the order bump you create the same. All of the offers are created the same. Now, wherever I want that order bump to be placed, so I'm going to put it on this offer, this tier, I just select that order bump right here, and that's automatically added into the checkout for them to choose. You got your refunds here, and you can choose whether you want to put that on the page or not. Again, this is an upsell. All ups, everything's created the same. Image, name, price point. Is it reoccurring or not? No. This is the video right here. So you can see on my summit offer, I don't need to put a video because that's going to be on the actual sales page. For my upsells, the pages are generated automatically, so I can put the video right there. And this is the link to get access to that program. I don't have any order bumps on my upsells. Then I create my bonuses, whatever bonuses, like my all access pass. Remember, that's not what I'm selling. That's a bonus. On demand, it's not what I'm selling. It's a bonus. MP3s, virtual event tickets, all the different bonuses. Here's bonuses from the speakers that have been, that the speakers created and have been positioned there. Then I create my tiers. Remember, offers what they're buying. Tiers are the access they're going to get. In the registration tier, they're not going to get all of these bonuses. We don't want them to have all the bonuses because we want them to upgrade to get those bonuses. But they are going to get this actual offer right here, this registration offer that we created. I mean, theoretically, you could create it as a bonus if you wanted and put it in there, but we put it as a registration offer. And then inside of this tier, we're going to attach the offer that if they purchase this offer, they then come inside of this tier. They'll get all of these bonuses and they will start the upsell process, starting with this and then this. Okay. Same thing for this one. We attach the right offer. Boom, boom, boom. And again, I can always test my offers by turning this to test mode, clicking my sales page and going through the process. So now you've seen that inside of Virtual Summit software. The next thing, we're almost done here. The next thing we're going to go through is sales strategies, some sales strategies. And we'll do that with this. Okay, so sales strategies, okay? So this is the post-summit profit strategy. So let's go through that and then we'll make sense of the sales strategy. So post-summit profit strategies. So magnetize, monetize, maximize, multiply. Magnetize is your summit. This is where you're bringing cold people into your summit, okay? At this point, they go from cold to warm. In the process here, they go from cold to warm. At that point, we want to monetize. This is post-summit, okay? There's different ways of doing this, but we're going to sell them. So with the first time I run my summit, I'm going to sell them a higher ticket option, something between 500 and 1,000. It's usually going to be like a coaching program, a transformation, or a coaching, a certification, like a done with you program, etc. Now, after my summit ends and I'm rerunning this on the Ever Summit, okay, then I'm going to just go straight through with this. Another way of looking at this is we're going to go through the high ticket, and then this is could be your downsell, because essentially this would be your downsell. But when we're running this on Ever Summit, we're going to attract the people, the audience into our list by the summit. We're going to magnetize them, track them in. Then we're going to monetize them. We're going to sell them a medium price, a small to medium price digital product, a course, a resource, something like that, which solves a single problem. Small and middle price. They're trying us out. They're seeing if we can do what we say we do. They're going to pay for it. They're going to go, okay, now I trust them. They got me that result. We're solving one problem, one solution, simple, quick, and easy. Now we're going to give them the transformation. This is the complete thing. This is done with you, done for you. This is a mastermind, a membership, a group coaching, a one-on-one coaching. Like, this is where we give them all the things they need. This is also why I said this could be the thing, and this could be your downsell if during your live. But during the Ever Summit, like when you're running this on Evergreen ongoing, you're just going to have them go from summit to small, medium program course to higher ticket to then multiply, which is, so we're going to magnetize, we're going to bring them in, we're going to monetize them, then we're going to maximize what we have, we're going to high ticket, then we're going to multiply that. We're going to keep that happening every single month with a membership. So keep in mind, they're going to go from cold to warm to hot to raving fan, essentially. Okay. With that being said, our sales strategy. So our sales strategy, how's our sales strategy work? We have essentially 6 different sales strategies that we can use. We have early bird, diminishing bonus, summit live, last chance, encore weekend / bonus day, and then our post summit offer. Okay. So early bird and diminishing bonus are pre-summit. So, and also I would also throw in there, I didn't have this in my notes because it's not really it is a one-time offer. So one-time offer is also a sales strategy. All of these are pre-summit, before the summit starts, meaning that they opt in. So, right, they're going to opt in here. They're pre-summit. They're going to opt in, and then they're going to have a confirmation and or upsell. So that confirmation page, that upsell could be a one-time offer. If it's not a one-time offer, it should still be the offer. It should be something. Okay, so they're going to buy something, or we're going to position something with them. If it's a one-time offer, it's like, hey, whoa, before you leave, remember, grab this now. Then once they've either, let's assume they haven't, I'm going to take you through somebody who doesn't purchase the whole time. Where will you see these different sales strategies at? So I opt in as an attendee, I immediately see a one-time offer. Now I would never use all of these together, but I'm just going to show you where they have it. I say, nope, I'm not going to buy that. The price has now gone up. Okay. The price for the offer, I can still go buy it, but it's back up. That one-time offer is done. It's gone. Now, an early bird technique means before the summit starts, so between the promo and the summit live, or the show up phase, the summit live phase, pre-summit and summit live phase, I can do an early bird sales strategy, which is where I'm going to say, hey, right now, this is great with using a coupon, which you can get inside Virtual Summit software. You use the coupon. Say right now, before the summit starts on Friday morning, you have till Thursday night at midnight. You can use this coupon code and get 20% off of the summit offers. Now, keep in mind, it should never be the same or more than a one-time offer if you're using the one-time offer, because you told them this is the only time. So if you had 50% off on your one-time offer, the maximum you could go with your early bird is like 40%, but I wouldn't even go 40%. I'd go like 20 to 30% or 10%. 20 to 30 is pretty standard. So early bird, it means they can buy and get a discount early, as long as they buy early. Once the summit starts, that early bird discount is gone. Okay, I don't buy. Now, diminishing bonus is also a pre-summit. I would never do both of these. I would do one or the other. Usually I would go early bird strategy. The diminishing bonus is like 3 days before the summit starts. Is, hey, if you buy the summit offer now, this works well with a single tier, one tier, but if you buy now, not only are you going to get everything inside of that summit offer that's positioned there, you're also going to get these 3 epic bonuses too. And you throw in 3 more amazing bonuses, but you let them know you have the next 3 days. Every day you wait, one of these bonuses is going to go away. You can't get them back. If you want all 3, you got to buy now. If you wait till tomorrow, one of them's going to be gone. If you wait another day, one of them's going to be gone. If you wait past that, all 3 of those are going to be gone. It's a diminishing bonus strategy. So I don't love it. It works, but I don't love it because I don't like taking things away from people. I like to say, hey, take advantage. You get it. You miss the date. You miss the date. But that's the diminishing bonus technique, and it does work. So on Wednesday, if they buy today, they get all 3 bonuses plus everything in the summit offer. If they wait till Thursday, they only get these 2 bonuses plus everything in the summit offer. And if they wait till Thursday or Friday, they only get this bonus in the summit offer. And if they wait past that, they don't get any of those bonuses, only the things in the summit offer, which is still an amazing offer, right? So that's all pre-summit. Now, the next sales strategy is during the Summit Live, the Summit Live strategy. So Summit Live is, here's the price of the summit offer, and it is good till the summit ends. When the summit ends, the price is going to go up. You have 2 options here. You can say the price is going to go up, or it's going to be completely unavailable to buy. The completely unavailable to buy is a much stronger sales tech, like a sales urgency factor. but then it removes your opportunity to do like a last chance or anything after the summit. So if you're going to do that, you got to be a little bit more, you got to be a little stronger on selling during the summit, which I don't love to do. Remember, it's more about the relationship building strategy. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to say this is the, if you wait till the summit ends, it's over, you have to make sure they know about it, right? Because if they don't know about it, they're going to be mad. So you got to make sure they know about it. So Summit Live is either this offer is a good, which is higher than the one-time offer. So you're going to have three prices. You got your one-time offer and or your early bird. And you got your Summit Live price, and then you got your summit, the summit offer, like once the summit ends. Like, so the summit, like your final summit price. I don't want to say post summit because that I don't want you to get confused with the other offer. So you got three price points: pre-summit, during the summit, and once the summit ends. And that price is like, well, that's your price. If it was 97 before the summit, it's 197 during the summit, and then once the summit ends, it's 497. And you can still buy it, but now that's the price. So that's the Summit Live strategy. Now, that's I like to do that. Like, you can still buy it afterwards, but the price is going to be this, okay? Because that lets me do the next thing is like, hey, we told you the summit just ended yesterday. We told you that the summit price is going to go up, and it's about to go up. So this is your last chance. I'm going to give you 3 more days. Monday, if it ended on Sunday, I'm going to give you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 3 more days to grab it at this price. Once that ends, the price is going up. It's over. Okay. And so last chance. So that's usually a 2 or a 3 day, sometimes a 4 day, if you're not doing an encore weekend, opportunity to grab the summit price at that Summit Live price before that price goes away. Next sales strategy. So we did one-time offer, we did early bird, we did diminishing bonus, we just did Summit Live. The next is this bonus day or encore weekend. So bonus day and encore weekend, that's a different sales strategy. That's a surprise and delight. That's a rule of reciprocity. What we're saying is, hey, you get access. We've decided some of you didn't get to see it. Some of you said you were busy. Some of you were really wanting to watch one session that you missed on the earlier day because you didn't even know about it. The speaker didn't tell you about it. Whatever. You can thank me later, but right now you can unlock this and get access to all of the sessions for the next day. If it's a 1 day summit, you're going to do a bonus day. If it's an encore weekend for this weekend, you're going to send this out on Friday. You're going to send it out in an email. You're going to say you get access to it starting today through Sunday. After that, no excuses. It's locked down unless you upgrade and buy one of the summit offers. Now, keep in mind, you're not going to send this out to the people who've already purchased. You're only sending this to the people who didn't purchase because those people already have all access and unlocked. So you don't need to send that to them. Also, they're going to be like, well, wait, I could have had another weekend. So you're only sending it to the people who haven't purchased yet. Now, how do you do an encore weekend in Virtual Summit software? So if you go to the tiers, remember, in the offers, in the tiers, these are access, okay? So the registration tier, anybody who opts in or registers for the summit is in this tier. They do not have an all access pass. They do not have on demand, which means when the summit runs when the software runs your summit, day 1, day 2, day 3, whatever you set the schedule to be, when day 1 ends, this is 24 hours here. Day 2 starts, day 1 will be locked down. Your attendees will no longer have access to that session. Okay, let me see if I can show you here. So the summit, oh yeah, I just went through and purchased, right? So I have to set me back to a basic speaker virtual summits. So I have to set this back. So take away my access here. Oops, registration. Okay. So now if I go back here, and so the summit's locked. So this is what it'll be like for your attendees. The summit's locked. I didn't buy an all access pass. Here I go. I can still see everything. This is one of the benefits, especially if you're using some other platform, whatever, they don't show it like this. They can't even see the sessions that they missed or what they're missing out on. This lets them go through and see everything, but they can't access it. And so to do an encore weekend, you simply go to back to the tiers, right? So registration, if they're in the registration tier, they have not purchased or upgraded. If they purchase or upgraded, they're in one of these higher tiers, which has it unlocked as it just was for me. You just saw that. The registration tier, the software is unlocking and locking the sessions based on that person's access, based on that person's tier. They are unlocking and locking the sessions based on the appropriate days and times. So what I can do for an Encore weekend is I can go here, I can select all access pass or on demand. And what does that do? It immediately gives everybody in the registration immediate access. So as soon as I click it, it's instant, real time. I can go through. And so it's an Encore weekend. I have full access to watch any and all of the sessions that I missed out on. Okay. If it's a bonus day, it's for one day. But now I can go through and I can see the sessions that I missed. I can access them. I can watch them. And again, you're communicating with them via email. Now, when that bonus day ends or that Encore weekend ends, I simply go here and I remove that all access and on demand from the registration tier. And now, as a attendee who's in that registration tier, it immediately locks down. Now, again, if I upgrade and I purchase and I get into one of these tiers, it's unlocked for me forever. But it's the ones who have not upgraded, who are still in the registration tier. And that is how I can do Encore weekend and bonus day inside of Virtual Summit software. Just simply go into the registration tier and select the on demand, and it removes. They don't get any, like, you haven't put any extra bonuses or anything here. So they don't get anything in these tiers. They just get the access for as long as you give them access. Okay. So that's quick, simple, and easy. Okay. Just check my notes here. The final sales strategy is the post-summit offer. So we talked about this already. The best way to sell this is in a live webinar or masterclass. We usually tie this into the summit offer. You saw that in my summit offer. It said a free ticket to the virtual event webinar or class. That's actually a sales class. That's a sales webinar that I'm selling the post-summit offer. So that's the post-summit offer. Is 3 to 7 days after the summit ends, after the Encore weekend, you do a live class, a live webinar, I call it a class because people think of webinars as a sales event. So I do a class, I teach, and then I give them an opportunity to purchase or enroll into the post-summit offer. And that's that higher ticket offer. So again, we have our one-time offer, we have our early bird, we have our diminishing bonus, we have our summit live, we have our last chance, we have our Encore weekend, and then we have our post-summit offer. That being said, the final thing I'll leave you with here, and this is a resource that we've included as a bonus. You can get access to that. And there's a guide that walks you through it, is the Summit Revenue Calculator. And so this is how you can kind of map out and anticipate what you may make from your summit. Okay. So this explains the terminology, what that means. This is the how to calculate it. You do this by, and again, there's a document, there's an actual guide that gives you full access to that, but you need to determine your list potential, which is your speakers times their average or anticipated list size. That gives you a list potential. To figure out your total page views, you're going to take a email conversion rate, so speaker conversion rate, and times the total list potential, and that's going to give you total page views of your summit. Now, to get your attendees, you got to do opt-ins. So you take total page views times your opt-in conversions. Okay, and that varies, but we did 30% here, and that's going to give me 2,250 attendees. Now, to determine my number of sales, I need to do a sales conversion. So I take my total attendees times my anticipated sales conversion, and that gives me total sales. To figure out my gross revenue, I take those total sales times my average summit offer value. So you average your offers. If you're doing 3, you average all 3 of them. If you're doing 1, you've just got the 1. You take your total sales times that average summit offer. And that tells you your initial gross revenue. Your final gross revenue is you add in any sponsorships or any additional revenue that you anticipate, like post-summit offer, whatever. That'll give you your final gross revenue. And then total net revenue, you remove any expenses. So expenses include affiliate expense, So whatever you're going to pay the affiliates, typically 30% of all sales will come from affiliates and speakers, and whatever commission you're giving them, typically 50%. So 30% of our total initial revenue from the sales are going to be from the speakers. So 30% of that is from them. And then I got to give 50% of that to them as their commission. So the affiliate expenses here, I remove that plus any other, expenses that you may have had, workshops, ad spend, et cetera. And that gives you total net revenue. So that's your Summit revenue calculator. And that right there is going to wrap up our high converting Summit offer workshop. So we went through what makes an offer sell. You got to solve a problem. You got to solve a problem they have. It needs to be clear. They need to know what it's costing them, how to solve it, and what life will be afterwards. It's got to be full of value, 10 times more. We went through a Summit offer and how it's the initial bridge that connects the problem to the aspirational character. It's not a mega offer. It's different types of offers. We went through registration offer, one-time offer, Summit offer, order bump, upsell, post-Summit offer, downsells. We went through the different price ranges for those. We also talked about the different Summit offer frameworks, which is a single tier, triple tier, or stair stepper, decoy effect, anchor tier. We went through examples of those in Virtual Summit software. We went through how to set those up, how to set up offers and tiers inside of Virtual Summit software, including the order bump and the upsells, how you can do that. We went through the sales strategies, one-time offer, early bird technique, diminishing bonus, Summit Live, last chance, encore weekend, and then the post-Summit offer. And then, of course, that post-Summit profit strategy, which is magnetize, monetize, maximize, and multiply, and then gave you access to that Summit revenue calculator right there. If you have any other questions, reach out, let us know. Make sure you've jumped into Virtual Summit software, which is the quickest and easiest way to host a virtual summit. And it's one of the only platforms that gives you that level of customization and power with your Summit offers. It's the only platform, it's the only Summit platform that gives you a one-click Summit upsell, which will increase your Summit revenue by about 30% or more. So enjoy. It's been great hanging out with you. And as always, your message matters. And the most powerful way to get that message out to the world is with a virtual summit. I'll see you inside. Let's go do it.